Welcome back to Built Fabrications, and I did it again. We got a new project. So, see over here behind me, we got a 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids that growing up in basements.
Now, before we get into this car, I want to address, for the guys who've been following along that are probably thinking, damn, this dude's got another project. You got to finish something. I know, I understand. I got a problem. That's the first step, is admitting it, right? But I am hoping that this project, it's pretty damn close to being good enough to go, and then we'll modify it as we go along. My whole intention of getting this car is to have something we'll get just pushed past the finish line, get it running, get it driving, enjoy it as we work on other projects. We got the F-150 still on the lift, we got the C10 that we're still working on with updates to come. And then as those get done, then we'll focus on upgrading this car even more as we go. So with that being said, let's take a look at what I picked up and what we're adding to this channel. So this is a 1970 Monte Carlo. For those who are not aware, 1970 was a 1 year only. That's for the Chevelles, it's for the Monte Carlos. Although the 70 to 72 Monte Carlos look alike, I've come to find that there are a lot of differences. You cannot take stuff from 71 and 72, which are more interchangeable, and put them on a 70. So, I mean, it brings a certain sense of rarity, but also a certain level of pain in the ass for getting parts. But anyways, we've got a really solid car. As you see, it's in primer, and we'll do a walk around and show you the different things on the car. Things we need to touch up, things that are looking great, and then, yeah, we'll show you around. So let's go ahead and take a walk around the car. As you see, a lot of stuff has been pre-primed. All the body lines are really good. What you see here is there's a lot of masking tape that was matched off for primer. That's why you see the lines. So anywhere where you see color changes, that's the story on that. But all of our body lines are really, really good. There's not really hardly any rust on this car at all, which is a nice change for me. Definitely do not like rust around here. We've got a little patch we gotta do here on the driver's side. It's right here at the bottom. I'll go ahead and knock that out, put a new patch on there. And this is pretty good. And then as we go around the car, I'll go ahead and show you the other areas. So super, super tight. I do have the glass in here is just held in with a little bit of Gorilla Tape. And the reason being for that is we had, I don't know, probably about a 3 hour or so drive, maybe 4. And the glass is out of it. Whenever I picked it up, it just had plexiglass, which is still in the back. I was afraid that the plexiglass was going to push out, so we dropped it in the glass, just set it in here, taped it, good enough. So moving on around the car, originally it was a vinyl top car. You can tell by the rivets here for the trim. I'm not planning on doing a vinyl top back on this car, just because of those people who know about vinyl tops. I really like the look of them, but they hold moisture and they will rust away your roof. And by the time you know there's a problem, it's too late. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take these rivets out, smooth everything out. We're just gonna do paint on it, but everything is super, super solid. Like I was saying, no rust anywhere around here on the bottom of these quarter panels. Everything is super tight. Come around here to the back. We're gonna come back to the trunk because we got some goodies in here. We'll go and show you the other side. Here on the passenger side, we do have another one of our problem areas that we need to address, and it's just down here on the back of this rear quarter. We're gonna go ahead and have to put a patch in here. This is basically one of the only other rust spots that's on this car. And again, everything's super tight. Those of you who are not aware, back in 1970, they didn't use body filler, they used lead to fill in their seams. The previous owner went ahead and pulled that out just to check for this body line. I think he was considering maybe doing an entire rear quarter to address that rear rocker behind the tire here. But everything's super good. We can go ahead and put some body filler in there, fill it out, same thing, take off the rivets. All of the glass is great in this, all of the trim, and we have more trim in the trunk. My plans on this car, probably not gonna put all of the trim back on. I'll go ahead and close up a lot of these holes that we have here on the bottom. But all the body lines are really, really good. This is one of my favorite parts. I don't want to jump ahead to the interior, but listen to how smooth these doors close. I love that. It's great. So Everything's really nice over here. On this side, we don't have any rust. And if I can go ahead and get you guys underneath, yeah, we're gonna have to come back with a light. So now we got a light, you can look underneath and everything is super solid. This car has been a Florida car its whole life and the frame is great. You can see the floor is in fantastic shape. Really no points of concern at all. Drive shaft you could kind of see there in between the floor and the exhaust, and that thing is looking brand new. Transmission's looking great. And here in a little bit, I'll go ahead and pop the hood and show you what the engine is. The transmission is the 350 in this car. Got a little headers, that's a sneak peek. And them skinny tires. So everything is really nice and tight. I don't see any rust, and that is fantastic. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move underneath the hood. I do have a prop up here. The previous owner, the hinges are obviously on, but he took off the springs. If you're not familiar, the Chevy hoods, especially with the spring hood hinges, are prone to buckling in the middle just because they get tight if they're not lubed really well. So as a preventative, he left them off. They are in the trunk, which we'll double back to before we jump into the interior. But let's go ahead and move on to the engine. So what we're working with here is a 350. It's a 350 small block, 350 or turbo 350 for the transmission, automatic. All of the Monte Carlos are. Essentially what a Monte Carlo is, it's a luxury Chevelle. It's got all the muscle, but with a little bit of class. So I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't help myself when we already got this bad boy running just off of a bottle. I do have a new gas tank on the way, and I'm gonna take apart this carburetor and just kind of go through it and clean it. And I'm hoping to have this thing running and idling on its own, hopefully by the end of the week. But if you see these Monte Carlos, they're a little bit longer than Chevelles. That's really the majority of how they're different. It's an A-body GM car. It's like you got half of a 55-gallon drum here for your fan shroud. But you know what that means? A lot of room for activities. Eventually, I would like to, and this is again after we get the C10 done, some of our other projects. I want to come back and probably do an LS swap on this, maybe a 6.0, and put some twin Nagasaki spoolie boys, some twin turbo action on this guy. And we've got plenty of room for that. So that's the plan. But like I said, for now, I just want to get it running, driving. We'll get paint on this thing, get all the glass back in it. And then as we get our other projects done, we'll circle back and then really start to dial in on this car and do a lot of upgrades. So I will put that video of the car starting and running. I did record it, so don't come at me too hard. And yeah, let's move to the trunk and then we'll go ahead and move into the interior. I know you guys got some other stuff to do, so I'm trying to keep it brief. Out here in the trunk, again, very tight. You can see all this, no rust. This is all this, the parts on this car, as of right now, are not repop parts. They are OEM factory parts for Monte Carlos. The guy who I got it from, David, he was very meticulous in everything he did, which I certainly appreciate, and it holds a lot of weight. Definitely a lot harder to do that. So looking at the trunk and seeing what we got, we have a bunch of trim, bottom of the windshield, we have all of our badges, we've got some new weather stripping here for the trunk, as well as glue. So we've got a ton of stuff to work with. The original jack even, back when things were quality, it's like the, what do they call them, hijacks? The Jeep guys like to run them. They had them back in 1970. It's new stuff. So that's really cool, really valuable, hard to find. Yeah, I know this thing fell off. It's still good quality, okay, people? Give me a break. Factory air shocks, that's a plus. We do have another area that we need to patch here, just this little tiny piece right here in the trunk, which, again, for Monte Carlo is no big deal. We definitely are making out pretty well. The area where all these A-body cars do like rust is right here in the back of the rear windshield. And again, I have tape in here. This is the plexiglass. I do have the actual rear glass in the car, but I didn't want to risk wind blowing it out, flipping over, breaking, no bueno. Plexiglass, a little bit more durable. So, but yeah, back here in the bottom of these windows, you got 3/4 of an inch to hold water. It just didn't make sense. But these are all tight, no issues, which is a big relief because yes, it's fixable. Everything's fixable for the most part, but it is a pain. So I'm definitely happy those are good. And now I think it's time to go ahead and move on to the interior, see what we're working with. Let's stop and take another second to reflect on these doors. Glass is in great shape here. And hold on, just check this out. Are you listening? I love that. They don't build cars like that anymore. So we are working with factory door panels. It was originally green. I believe the exterior of the car was gold from the factory. Not gold now. Too bad we had a jerk off, went ahead and drilled in these doors to put in speakers that there's no speaker. It's literally just the cover because the window glass hits it, or would hit it if there was one in there. So thank you to whoever did that. I appreciate it. But the car in here, we have all of our trim, brand new carpet. It's in perfect condition because it's brand new, and all new sound deadening. We do have some red seats in here. No, they're not going to be staying like this. They're going to need to be rewrapped, or I'm hoping to actually maybe find some bucket seats, maybe do the center console. Let me know in the description or the comments what you guys think, if I should go ahead and change the buckets or just recover these seats here. It's a split bench. Obviously we'll do the rear too and just run with those. Brand new headliner. Let me try to get you out of the light. Brand new headliner, it's in there. Looks really, really nice. We might need to touch up on the sail panels, but they're not too bad for now. And again, we have the green door panels here, which I really, truly do believe are factory, which is incredible because they are in fantastic shape. And I know that it's a little bit dark, but we got our gauges in here and everything's in great shape. We do have a dash pad cover or whatever you want to call it. That eventually is going to come off. The actual dash pad is not in terrible shape, but we will probably eventually replace that. My plan is to go ahead and make this interior fully black. So we will be changing the door panels, obviously, like we already talked about the seats. And yeah, these cars are huge. Tons and tons of space. And yeah, so that's pretty much the interior. We got all the lights are working. Grab the keys and roll this on. The the gauge lights aren't popping on right now. Not sure what's going on there. That's going to be another thing to add to the list to address, try to figure out what's going on. But we'll go ahead and pull on our lights, turn on our flashers. And you can see that all that is working, which is definitely very, very nice. Love the body lines on this car. And then we got all of our tail lights and flashes working on the rear of the car as well. Engine hoist is making an appearance in the way, blocking everybody's view. But great looking car. Monte Carlo, especially in 1970, has been a bucket list car of mine for a long time. So I'm definitely very, very happy to finally have one of these in our collection and to be building it up on the channel. So just as I was saying, a 1970 Monte Carlo has been a big bucket list car of mine to have. So I'm super stoked to finally have one. It's a dream come true. I was able to finally find one at a price point that was tight, but obviously I was able to pull off. So very grateful for that. I think that Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was the first thing that really set me off on these cars. I think that was a 1970 as well, the Monte Carlo in there. Didn't like when they drove it through the house though and flipped it. I hate when they do that in the movies, but man, that car, I was like, dude, that's nice. And I think that's what really kind of got me hot to trot on these. I call these the poor man Chevelle, although it's a luxury Chevelle. The Chevelle prices for the current market are through the roof. They are absolutely ridiculous, especially for 70s. Monte Carlos are kind of up there too, but not quite to the same extent. And yeah, but I've always really liked these. They carry a certain sense of uniqueness because there's not as many on the road when compared to its brethren of the Chevelles. But yeah, like I said, I'm very excited to have it on the channel. Hopefully you guys are also excited, and I'm looking forward to getting this car up and going and bringing you guys along on the process. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop in the video of me getting this thing started and running. It's just on a bottle, but I'm hoping I got a gas can and everything already, or a gas tank already on the way. And we'll go through and probably open up this carburetor, clean it up, just make sure everything's good, although it looks pretty new, honestly, and clean. And hopefully in about a week and a half or so, we'll have this thing running, idling, and maybe even driving all on its own without me having a bottle feed it. So thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate it very much. You guys go ahead, get outside, get wrenched on something, piss off your neighbor, disappoint your mom, and until next time, keep on keeping on. Crank it.